The great architectural achievements of the past are built of stone. Stone quarries supplied large blocks of granite, limestone, and sandstone that were used for building temples and tombs. At the Temple of Karnak, a ramp of adobe brick can be seen leading all the way to the top of the temple wall. Such ramps were used to allow workmen to carry stones to the top of the structure and allow artists to decorate the tops of the walls and the pillars. Pillars were built in the same way. As height was added, the ground was raised. When the top of the pillar was completed, the artist would decorate it from the top down, removing ramps as they went along. As soon as a pharaoh was named, construction of his tomb begun. Tomb building was continued throughout his life and stopped only on the day on which he died. As a result, some tombs are very large and finely decorated, while other tombs, like the tomb of King Tut, are small because he ruled as a pharaoh for such a short time. The architecture was based upon a perpendicular structures and inclined planes, since there was no structural assistance except the strength and balance of the structure itself. For this reason, the square and the plumb line were very important tools. One of the most notable and lasting achievements of the ancient Egyptians are their pyramids. The size, design, and structure of the pyramids revealed the skills of these ancient builders. The pyramids were great monuments and tombs for the kings. The Egyptian believed that the king's soul continued to guide affairs of the kingdom even after his death. To ensure that they would continue to enjoy the blessings of the gods, they preserved the pharaoh's body through the mummification process. They built the pyramids to protect the pharaoh's body. The pyramid was a symbol of hope, because it would ensure that the pharaoh's union with the gods. The largest pyramid in existence is the Great Pyramid built by King Khufu at Giza. The Great Pyramid measured at 481 feet high by 775 feet long at each of its four bases. Other notable pyramids include the Step Pyramid built by the King Zuzer and the pyramid built for King Hanai. That was a transition between the Step Pyramid and the smooth side pyramid that we know today. The art of the Egyptians reflected every aspect of their life. Depicted in tombs and temple drawings are senses of everyday living, models of the people and animals, glass figures and containers, and jewelry made from gold and semi-precious stones. The wall and pillar drawings were perhaps best known in these drawings. It can be seen that the people are going about everyday business of baking, fishing, boating, marketing, and meeting together in family groups. Such drawings were also used to help the deceased to live forever by giving them all the instructions they would need as they met the gods on their way to the eternal life. The good deeds were recorded, and the art that surrounded their mummified body was to help their spiritual self in solving problems related to life after death. A variety of perspective is often combined in Egyptian art. However, the side view is most often seen. The artists used bright colors of blue and red and orange and white to develop pictures that tell the life of the deceased individual. The artist would first sketch a design on a piece of pottery, and if the design was satisfactory, it would be sketched on the wall with charcoal. Colors could then be used to fill the completed pictures. Paints were made from naturally occurring minerals and artificially prepared mineral substances. Paintbrushes were sticks with fibrous woods with frayed ends. Walls were covered with mud plaster, then with lime plaster. Wall paintings were then protected by a thin layer of varnish. Sculptors were important artists in Egypt. Statues of the kings and queens, scribes, animals, and gods and goddesses. Frequently, human and godlike attributes and symbols were combined. Alabaster, a white and translucent stone, was often used for making vessels and containers. Pottery was made of cremonic and clay. Pottery glazed with minerals was used to make beads, amulets, pendants, and jewelry. Craftsmen made glass for inlaid designs and some containers. Workers were able to make articles out of lead, gold, silver, and copper. Such metals were used to make pins, tweezers, razors, axes, knives, spears, sculptures, and jewelry. The stability of the government during the reign of Ramses II allowed the skills of artists and architects to flourish. What I see power with a sense of sympathetic selfishness. The reason why I say this is because the pharaoh had workers work day in and day out to make sure that this monument would become finished by the end of his life. But what was the reason that they wanted these to be built in the first place? This is where the sense of sympathetic selfishness comes in. They wanted to be remembered by those who came after him. That was most likely the mindset they had, which is sad, but selfish all at once. This is also sad because they also thought about life after death. But then again, that's something they look forward to, as long as you had a heart that was as light as a feather. If you didn't have a heart as light as a feather, your heart would be weighed out on a scale, and if not as light as a feather, would be fed to a heart-eating demon, and you would not make it to the afterlife in the way that you wanted to. When the pillars and tombs were inscribed with hieroglyphics, this all meant that this was how the king's life lived his life, kind of like one big timeline of the person's life, from birth to death. They also gave them things in writing that would help them in the next life, like directions. I can honestly say that about Egyptian art, it is very, very original, yet it is very unique because it's hard to map out a whole person's lifetime and hope that they will make it to see the end of their tombs or their statues or whatever structure they had being built. But the Egyptians wanted their pharaohs to make it to the afterlife and hope that they had a heart as light as a feather so that in the afterlife they could bless the people who was working on their statues and their monuments and who mummified their body and whatnot. So, in conclusion, Egyptian art is one of my favorite pieces of work because not only does it involve originality, it is pure at heart, and it involves a lot of hard work by these ancient builders who had to work time in and time out, who probably didn't receive any pay for their hard work. So, thank you.